What's the most scalable online business model that I've ever seen? That's the question we're going to be answering on today's episode of The Profit Pillar Show. I'm your host, Parker Stevenson, CEO of the accounting firm of All Finance and author of the book, Profit Pillars. Now, for whatever reason, online business owners are very concerned with scalability. And it's something I've seen for many, many years because we associate a scaling business with a business that's generating more revenue and more profit and making the business owner more money and hopefully giving the business owner a bigger team and more resources to make running the business easier. So we assume that scalable is the goal. And without a doubt, in this capitalistic society that we live in, a growing business is a safer business than a business that's staying static. And I think that's especially true as a business gets larger, but for a lot of modern small businesses and online businesses, scalability doesn't have to mean 2xing, 5xing, 10xing your business every year. And I know there's a lot of business coaches. I mean, there's literally a book called 10x is easier than 2x or something close to that name. It was a good book. I read it. But that doesn't account for the fact that for a lot of people that start online businesses and modern small businesses, they have a lot they still have to learn while they're still driving the bus, right? It's the old adage, you're trying to change the tire on the bus while you're still driving it. And so for a lot of us, we may not have like a significant background in entrepreneurship or even business, but here we are running these small businesses, these online businesses, and we're trying to figure out a lot as we go. And one thing that I've noticed with their clients over the years is that their businesses will scale based on their ability to lead their business. How much are they developing, growing, learning, and better understanding their business, their industry, what it means to be a leader? Like there's a lot of factors there. But that aside, I think the decision around what sort of business model do we want to choose for our businesses, or really what that comes down to for me is what are our offers, or what's our main offer? What's going to be our bread and butter that we're going to sell and make money from? And if our offer's good and we're really great as a business at delivering results for our customers and clients, the option of scaling becomes a lot greater, because I do think a lot of business owners think about scalability far too soon. Businesses evolve over time, and to be thinking 10 years down the road, it's not bad to think about that a little bit, but also if that's your focus, you're going to miss out on executing on what you need to do right now to take the first steps towards getting there. Now, I know there's coaches out there who do goal setting and talk about this at great length, and that's not my area of expertise, but I know what I've seen. And I've worked with, talked with hundreds of business owners at this point. And so what I know to be true is if your offer is good, that's the starting place. If you've matched up your business model with the needs of your customers, that's going to give you the opportunity to scale. Now, what I think kind of happened over the years is especially online businesses, business owners connected scalability to like courses and memberships, because the offer delivery components of those businesses tended to be easier. You go, you attend a webinar, you buy my course, thank you, bye, right? And that was it. It was very transactional, but from a business model perspective, it seems so easy. It's like, oh, if I just get the right webinar and the right sales page and the right email sequence, this is just going to be like an automated cash machine, just making money without like doing much other than maybe doing a presentation every once in a while, but I'm going to get this evergreen funnel going. Is that still doable? Sure. Like that's still feasible, but that doesn't mean that's the right business model for everybody's business to sell courses. especially to sell courses on an evergreen funnel. And I think that's been especially apparent since we've come out of the pandemic. So when I say to set yourself up from the start to give yourself the best chance to scale, we need to match our offer with the needs of our customer. A lot of business owners thought, well, courses are scalable, so I should just go sell courses, without really thinking about, does your customer want a course from you? Is that actually what they want? For a lot of business owners, it turns out no. And I've even experienced that a little bit at Evolve Finance. We experimented with some online learning course material, and we still have some, but we've actually turned those into tools. Our courses are actually spreadsheet tools with tutorials on how to use them, and it's not our main business model. It's there for the businesses that can't work with our service yet. Either their businesses aren't making enough money to work with our accounting team, or they're overseas, or just aren't the right fit for our service. But the tools could be really helpful for them. But it's more of a courtesy, more of a long play. It's not our main business or our main revenue driver. But for a lot of people, they change their entire revenue driver to an offer or a business model that doesn't really fit what their customers want. And you're going to have a hard time scaling, let alone making enough money to pay your bills, if there's not a good match there. So ultimately, the best business model is the one that serves your clients in the way that best helps them to solve the problems that you can help them with. Let me say that again, because I was kind of reading my notes here as I did it, and that may not have been clear. But ultimately, the best business model is the one that serves your clients in the way that best helps them solve the problem you can help them with. And so that's why when I hear, especially in the past, I've heard a lot of business coaches go, build the business of your dreams. Build the business that you want to build. Do you have the right to choose your business model based on your desires? Of course you do. And if what you want to build also matches up with your customers, then congratulations. You got to have your cake and eat it too. But for most of us, that's not always going to be the right fit. So with this message of like, build the model of your dream, or build the business of your dreams, and build the business of what you want, your customers don't care what you want. If you want someone to give you money as a business owner, you need to be able to solve a problem for them, and you need to solve it in the way that's going to get that customer, that client, the best results possible. At Evolve Finance, ultimately, people don't want to buy a course from us about how to do their bookkeeping. They want us to do it, especially the types of clientele we attract. We attract 6, 7, and 8-figure business owners who are at a point where they need a tax team and a business accounting team that can handle their books, handle their taxes, give them great financial reporting, and advise them. That's what they want. They don't want to do that themselves. But I know there's probably someone out there who has the right client base or the right audience that they can sell a course like that and make a decent living. Probably not generate as much revenue as we generate out of Evolve Finance from our service, but I know that's possible, and that might be a perfect fit for them. But for us at Evolve Finance, we want to help our customers solve the biggest problems they have. And for that, the best way for us to do that is to deliver a service, a very high touch service for them. So that's what I mean about, sure, there's potential in every business model, but are you matching up the right offer, the right business model with the types of clientele you're attracting, the type of customers you're attracting, and based on the opportunities that you have within your own business? And we're gonna talk more about that in just a second. But I do want to say this before we get into some questions I want you to ask yourself. Every business is scalable. You might be at stages in your business where the way you're operating business can only get you so far, but you can evolve as your business grows. Again, let's use Evolve Finance for an example. Back in the day, Corey and I did a one-on-one call with every single one of the clients we worked with. And eventually we knew we were going to run out of space. We could only meet with so many clients per month. We're also trying to run and grow the business as a whole. So we inevitably promoted bookkeepers to account managers. They started to manage the client work. We did have some clients leave because they only wanted to work with Corey. They only wanted to work with me. Corey's my business partner, if you're a first-time listener. And I get it. I get why they wanted to leave. But also, when Corey and I got out of the client work, it allowed us to train and support our bookkeepers and account managers and really help them to serve the clients better than Corey and I could, because our team's not distracted by also having to run the business. Corey and I have to run a business. And so the service actually got better. We were able to take on more clients and grow our business because we removed the bottleneck. But if we thought, all right, the only way our business works is Corey and Parker serving every single one of our clients because we're the only ones that our clients want to work with, then yeah, we wouldn't have been scalable. But we knew that Corey and I weren't the value drivers. Our systems, our processes, our perspectives as an organization, that's what was valuable. So we went through the hard work of figuring out how to hire and train new bookkeepers and accountants, and we figured it out, and it's scalable. But we had to deal with different challenges than someone who's trying to scale a course where they're sweating and stressing over how to keep their Facebook ads going or where their next viral Instagram post is going to come from, right? Like it's just different worries, different concerns, different challenges in terms of the scaling. So instead of thinking about scalability as the ultimate goal, right? Like I think scalability is the result of understanding your business, understanding the challenges in front of it, and being willing to change and adapt as your business gets to new levels. But you can make that path a lot easier if you're connecting the right pieces together. And so I wanted to ask some questions here for you all, or I want to give you some questions for you all to ask yourselves to hopefully start to get closer to figuring out, like, are you on the right path? Do you have the right offers? Do you have the right business model for what you're trying to do and what your level of expertise is? So what's the value of the problem you're trying to solve? So if the value is lower than a membership site or a low-priced course or even free content, you're a content creator and an influencer, and you give your content away for free and you make money from sponsorships and royalties and things like that, then great. It's important to know that like someone's not going to pay $10,000 for a maybe like a guitar class, like a guitar membership. They're not going to pay you $10,000 a year for that. But on the flip side, if the problem you're trying to solve, like, and this is kind of known, right? If the problem you're trying to solve is high value, which is how to scale my business, how to get healthy and solve a health issue, things that have urgency, things that have a massive impact on quality of life, then you might be able to have a higher priced offer. And that's just something that I personally have seen a disconnect with our clients and a lot of business owners I've talked to, where they aren't willing to really go, what is the value of what I sell? And our most successful clients, they do that really well. They understand the value of what they sell. They price it appropriately, but then they deliver the right amount of support around that, which we're going to talk more about in just a second. But if you're selling a standalone course, right, because you can sell it for $99 and sell it all day, every day, and you have a big enough audience to make that work, then you don't need to have coaches walking them, your students or your customers through the program, and you don't need to have all these live calls. It might be really, truly a self-study thing that doesn't involve a lot of stuff versus An accounting firm, it's super high touch, but we're not charging $100 a year for bookkeeping or tax services, right? We're charging thousands of dollars a year because it's a higher value problem that has a higher cost of supporting the customers. So the value of the problem you solve is likely going to have an impact on the price you charge for your offer and the level of hand-holding and support you're going to give your customers and clients. Service-based businesses are like the ultimate there, where it's like we're doing the work for you. And then like a course or a membership is on the other side of the spectrum, where it's like self-study, kind of standalone, not a lot of support. But then there's a lot of in-between area there between a full-blown service and just selling a digital course, standalone course. There's a lot of space in between to figure out maybe hybrid approaches there. Now, the other question you should be asking yourself is, what does your customer look like? Because there are amazing businesses built around specific niches or specific client or customer avatars. So for instance, we have multiple clients at Evolve Finance in the music space, right? And so we have a client that sells a guitar community, and it's fairly affordable. And at the end of the day, it's cheaper for their clients by the end of the year than if they were taking one-on-one lessons throughout the entire year, right? So their whole idea here is that we're going to give you the things to work on and practice and give you community at a rate that's going to be less than what it will probably cost to work with a teacher directly, with more convenience. And their business model works really well because hobbies tend to not be offers where people are going to drop a ton of money on, especially something like music. Most musicians would rather spend more money on gear and instruments and things like that than spending, $20,000 a year for a guitar coach. But on the flip side, if your customer base is touring musicians who are playing at the highest levels, well, a community may not make sense for you. What might make sense is you charge a premium for lessons and to coach and advise your clients. You might be going on tour sometimes with your customers, right? You have this very specific niche that you serve, and it may not be highly scalable, but the amount of money you can charge to serve your customers. Like I have a buddy who is a drum teacher. He's one of the best drum teachers in the world. And he's able to charge a good amount of money and support his students, but his students are at a really high level. So you have one guitar teacher who's able to support the players at the highest level. And then you have another guitar teacher who's working with beginners and intermediate players at scale. But it's like, what's your network? What's your audience? What are the opportunities you have there? And so that's why it's so important to really understand, what do your customers actually look like? And it's the same like in the golf world. You have some guys who have massive audiences and can sell courses and membership sites through their YouTube channels. And then there's some coaches who do a little bit of that stuff, but they're still charging, $10,000 for a day with them with tour players, right? Where they're working with people that have the most on the line, and they can best help those small groups of people at a very high price point. So that's why it's so important to not just go, oh, I want to help all golfers, or I want to help all guitar players. Niching down even more will help you understand, well, what's going to be the best way to serve them? What's their budget look like? What's their time commitment look like? How important is it to them that they solve this problem? All of that's going to have an impact on how you shape your offers, which will have an impact on what your business model is going to look like. Now, the other thing that I think is really important is what's your lead generation look like? Because that is the biggest challenge as of right now for a lot of people in the online space, is if you have an offer that you have to sell over and over and over again to new people, and you don't have good lead gen, you can have a good year or two selling to the audience you already have and built. But if your audience isn't growing fast enough, your email list isn't growing fast enough, then eventually all the people in your ecosystem are going to buy the thing that you have to sell. And unless you have something else to sell them, which is a whole nother conversation, they're going to stop buying. Your launches are going to get smaller and smaller. So that's where I see clients with business models that demand a high volume of lead generation, but they don't have the infrastructure or strategies in place to keep that level of lead gen going, which is then why it's like, okay, can I serve a smaller group of people at a higher price point doing one-on-one work or group work or consulting or whatever it may look like. And obviously we all have aspirations to grow our lead gen and want our marketing to blow us up and build large audiences and generate huge pools of leads that we can turn into paying customers. But it takes time sometimes to do that, especially as small business owners now and as online business owners now. It's harder than ever to blow up an audience. There's definitely opportunities to continue to do so, but it doesn't happen overnight. So in the meantime, are you selling an offer that you can sell to a smaller amount of people at a higher price point versus trying to sell an offer at a lower price point to a really large audience of people? And again, that's really going to be dependent on how large is your audience that you currently have and how quickly are you generating leads with new potential customers or new people getting into your email list, your social media, your ecosystem. That's a really, really important one. And we're seeing the impacts of people neglecting, business owners neglecting that and building business models around offers that need way more lead gen than they're able to figure out for their businesses right now. Another question, the last question I think you need to ask yourself is, what's the complexity of the problem you're solving for? So do you need to do the work for them because this is such a complex problem? You know, there's probably a niche out there on YouTube and Instagram for people that like to understand how to work on their cars and want to fix their own cars and want to watch videos and tutorials on how to do that. But for the vast majority of people, I don't want to learn how to fix my car. I'm going to take it to a mechanic. Like, that's the reality. I'm going to pay a mechanic because it's a really complex problem I don't understand how to solve. So I'm going to go pay the $150 to do my oil change at the Subaru dealership. Right? Like that's just the reality for most people. So again, it doesn't mean that as an influencer or an online business owner, you can't build an audience around helping people to learn how to fix their own cars in very specific situations and for very specific niches. But the volume, the big industry there is the mechanic shops that are actually fixing all of our cars for us because it's a significantly more complicated problem that you need to solve, which is maintaining your car or fixing your car, than let's say learning how to play your first chords on guitar. So people are willing to spend thousands of dollars to fix their cars. But then there are other offers where you don't have to do everything for the customer. You can hold their hand through it, or you can just give them the knowledge they need, and then they can do it themselves. Again, that's why I continue to use the guitar membership is such a perfect example because the guitar teacher can only do so much to put your fingers on the fretboard and show you where to put them. It's a pretty easy problem to go look at a video, see where they tell you to put your fingers in the same place, and then just practice doing that until it gets comfortable. So that's something I think is really important, where I think sometimes business owners are trying to solve rather complex problems for their customers, but because they don't want to build a service-based business or they don't want to get in the weeds of doing the work themselves, they give their customers an offer that they don't really need. And they'll maybe sell some of that offer and some people will buy it, but it does reduce the scalability of the business because at the end of the day, the more complex your offer is, chances are the more you need to have a higher touch offer or even a service to actually help your customers get the results that actually work and actually matter, and probably get results a lot faster as well. So those are the 4 questions I really recommend you ask yourself. What's the value of the problem you're trying to solve? What does your customer avatar look like? What is your lead generation like, or what's the size of your audience? And what's the complexity of the problem you're solving for? for your customer. So if you get real about answering those questions in your business, you're probably going to quickly realize what the business model should actually look like for your business. You'll probably stop forcing an offer to your customers and build the offer you need to build. It's just, again, some offers sound like they're easier to scale, more convenient to scale, but I can assure you every business model has downsides, has issues, has complications, has challenges. So ultimately, what I tell our clients all the time is pick your BS and go, but really the BS kind of picks you. Depending on who you're trying to serve and the problem you're trying to solve for them, the business model should be pretty clear. And then it's just up to you to commit to serving your clients in the way they want and trusting that you will figure out how to serve more and more clients as your business grows, and that you will learn the skills necessary and you will pull the people in around you necessary to continue to build out that business, especially if you have good financial data and you're making sure that you're doing this in a financially responsible way, which really what I'm saying is profitable. Like just making sure you're paying attention to your numbers. So as you figure out how to scale your business, the numbers still look good. But I'm going to say this one last time. Your customers don't care about the scalability of your business. They care about if you understand their problem and if you know how to solve their problem as quickly as possible at the price point that feels like it delivers the most value to them. There's a lot to unpack there, but that's a conversation for another day. But if you want to make sure you're scaling your business in a profitable way, then you probably need a really good accounting team. You can learn more about Evolve Finance. We serve online businesses and modern small businesses. Just go to evolvefinance.com to learn more about our bookkeeping and tax services. And if you want to learn more about understanding the financial side of your business, you can check out my book, Profit Pillars, anywhere books are sold online. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.